Hi everyone, hope you are keeping safe and well and you're managing to stay happy. I have another dance session for you today which is looking at refining the routine you have so far and developing it further with some choreographic devices. All you need is yourself, your favourite song or the music that you've been working with in previous weeks and some space. As always, make sure that your space is safe, it's clear of any obstructions and you're not going to damage yourselves or anything in the process. So get yourself set up and we will get going. So the first key word we are going to look at today is refine and what refining actually means in terms of dance. Refining means making something as perfect as possible. So I want you to imagine that your dance routine at the minute has a few creases and crumples in it. Basically, you are going to iron it out and make it as aesthetically pleasing, which means as beautiful, as fabulous to look at as it can be. Okay, so you are making it look perfect. How can you do that? Well, one option would be to get a family member or someone in your household to watch you and give you some feedback, give you some pointers, help you evaluate your routine. Another option is just set up your phone, video camera and film yourself. Watch yourself back, look at where you're going fab and what areas need to be tweaked. So if we're making things look as fab as possible, you're probably going to need to firstly concentrate on your timing. Are you in beat? Are you in time with the music? Okay, that would be my first part of call. Are you rushing it? Are you going too slowly? Are the moves that you want to hit certain beats hitting certain beats? So make that your first reflection point. Check your timing and check it's as accurate as possible. The next thing I'd be looking at is the actual quality of your move. Are you performing your moves to the best of your ability? Do they look as fab as you want them to? And if not, just take some time to make sure that they are as great as you can make them. Little details. What's your hand position? What's your foot position? Where should you be when that beat happens? And where should your hands be when that beat happens? So watch yourself back, or ask someone to watch you back and just give you a bit of feedback on the quality of your moves. Right, if you have spent some time refining now and you're really happy with what you've got so far, we can try and develop what you've got further and apply some choreographic devices. So the first choreographic device I'd like you to try and develop within your routine is levels and level changes. So a level is all to do with whereabouts the movement is executed within your routine. Are you working at a low level? Is the movement at a medium level? Or are you working really high up? Okay. So think now, is there anywhere in your routine where you are already showing level changes? If not, add some in. If you do have level changes in your routine already, try and add some additional ones. If we use my example of Bollywood from last week, I was all very much, I think, medium to high level. So instead of starting here, or was it this way around? Instead of starting here, I could have started much lower down and then gone up to my pushes just to create that change of level and keep the audience's interest. If we take my example from the previous week, which was my walk, reach, twist and roll, then I haven't got any level changes there whatsoever. So I could do my walk and I could reach really low, or I could do my walk and then my reach could be up high, for example. Okay? So the next choreographic device I'd like you to try and apply is dynamics. Dynamics is all to do with how the movement is carried out. Okay? So the energy, is it sharp? Is it fluid? What are the contrasting dynamics that you could do? So if I take sharp and smooth, for example, and I'm doing a gesture, I could do a sharp gesture out to the side, or I could make it more soft and more fluid. If I was doing my walk, I could walk with a lot of energy and a lot of bounce in my dynamic, or I could walk with more of a glide, a approach in my dance. Does that make sense? Okay, so give that one a whirl. Is there anywhere in your routine that you already show some contrasting dynamics? If not, add some in. If you've already got them, can you find other places that show a real contrast of dynamics? The last choreographic device I'd like to have a little go at today is retrograde. So that's where you execute your choreography inversely, or backwards. So if you were watching yourself on the video, if you're watching your footage from your evaluation section at the start of this session, if you rewind yourself, that's what you'd look like if it was done in retrograde. So this is perhaps the biggest challenge of the day. Can you now repeat the motif or motifs that you have so far and apply retrograde to some of them? Can you do your dance in reverse? Like I say, this can be quite challenging. So to begin with, maybe just take some of the moves and see if you can do a small section in retrograde. But as you get more and more confident, you might be able to do a little bit more or do a whole motif in retrograde. So just to give you an example, if we take my routine from week 1 and try and apply some retrograde to it, I've got my walk, reach, twist and roll. Okay? To try and do that in retrograde, I'd be wanting to reverse it, so hit rewind. So instead of going from the beginning, I'm going from the beginning backwards. So my roll of my shoulders would be forward, forward. I would then be going into my twist, outwards and outwards. And I'd then be stepping back. Okay? So hopefully that shows you a little bit more clearly what I mean by retrograde. The easiest way to do it, like I say, is to try and watch yourself in rewind. Right guys, now we've had a bit of a chat about what each of the choreographic devices are, and we've had a few examples. It'd be great if you guys could try and put them into your own routines now. In terms of level of challenge, it's totally up to you. The easiest thing to do would just be to focus on adding some level changes into your routine. To push yourselves that little bit more, go for the more complex choreographic devices like dynamic change and retrograde. You could do just levels and dynamics, you could do levels and retrograde, you could just focus on one choreographic device. It's totally up to you. Another level of challenge would be to try and combine 2 choreographic devices together. So can you change level while at the same time show a really clear contrast in dynamics? Another thing you could do, guys, is think about the number of times you show these choreographic devices. So just try and do one of each, or try and do several level changes. Can you do 3 or 4 level changes? Could you apply retrograde to just a very small section, maybe 8 or 4 beats of your routine? Could you push yourselves and do it for a longer section of your routine? Could you show 3 dynamic changes, or if you're struggling, just 1 dynamic change, to try and play about with the number of times you apply these choreographic devices? And the final way you can push yourself is to try and combine 2 choreographic devices at once. So could you show a level change at the same time as showing a real clear change in dynamic? Right guys, that's it from me today. Now it's over to you. So you're refining your routine so far, and you are armed with some choreographic devices to try and develop your routine further. Try and push yourself to be as creative as possible, and if you want to share with us what you've got, you can tweet us at BeckfootPE, or you can email me, beckaeh@beckfoot.org, and me and the rest of the PE team would love to see what you've been how you've been creative and what you've come up with. Have a lovely day, get your songs on and try dance yourself happy. See you soon, hopefully.